I felt like when I read this psalm the first time, I felt like I was just being sort of yanked and zinged from one thing to another. It was like, God, be my refuge because the lion's going to come rip me apart. And then, but I didn't do anything. I'm innocent. See, my hands are clean. You see, and then God, rise up because there is we need a judge in this. And then you're a warrior. And then, those wicked people, they're going to get their own anyway. Like, it just seems like this going back and forth. And then the last part is, he says, I will praise you. I will worship you. I will thank the Lord for his righteousness, and I will sing about the name of the Lord Most High. Isn't that interesting? David could have concluded this psalm in so many different ways. It's like he doesn't even bring it up anymore. Maybe righteousness can be sort of a backwards look at the situation that he's dealing with. But mostly he is saying, God, I've found refuge in you. I've tested and seen. You've searched my heart. You know that I'm innocent. I trust you as the righteous judge and the great warrior that you are. I remember that sometimes the wickedness, they dig their own hole anyway. And so from that position, I worship you with gratitude. And I say, thank you, God, for being a refuge, a righteous judge, a powerful warrior, one who I can trust when it feels like I'm surrounded by enemies, when it feels like I'm surrounded by slanderers. It's a reminder that whatever attacks we may face from people or even Satan himself, I haven't highlighted this before, but sometimes the accuser is not someone who's in flesh and blood, right? Sometimes the accuser is the enemy who's saying false things. Even in those things, we can walk in gratitude and worship because we have been bought by the blood of Christ and we are his family now. That's who we are. When you think about the gospel in light of the challenges that others and even the enemy himself may bring towards us, when you think about the gospel, it just leads you right there to worship and gratitude. Because it reveals the great goodness and mighty power of God. He, as the righteous judge, decided that by the blood of Christ, if you accept that death, that Jesus died for you, and the truth of that resurrection life, he, as the righteous judge, will declare you righteous. He will put onto you the righteousness of Christ. When you think about that, how can you not worship? How can you not live with gratitude, even in the midst of the challenges that the world brings at our doorstep? I'd like to read one more time, Ephesians 6, 10 through 13. It says, finally, be strengthened by the Lord and by his vast strength. Put on the full armor of God so that you can stand against the schemes of the devil. For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the cosmic powers of this darkness, against evil spiritual forces in the heavens. For this reason, take up the full armor of God so that you may be able to resist in the evil day, and having prepared everything, to take your stand. We need to recognize that though we may have slanderers in the comment sections of social media and out in the community and things like that, or we may deal with, maybe it's not slander, maybe it's some other sin that is directed towards us. We need to remember that the war that is being waged is not one of flesh and blood. That truly sometimes these people that are acting these ways towards us, what they are most in desperate need is they are in desperate need of the gospel. That's why Jesus tells us to love our enemies. They're in need of hearing that there's a good God who loves them, who they can entrust their lives to. And because of his death on the cross and his resurrection, he offers forgiveness and life. And they can have it. through faith and belief in him. Sometimes that is the war being waged. It's not so much about, whether we're as dishonest as someone says that we are. Sometimes it's about this person is crying out that they need the gospel. And so are we willing to fight on those grounds, on the heavenly grounds, right? And in the heavenly ways, in the Jesus way? Or are we going to fight in the way of the flesh?